I've got some notes in here about finances. You live off $350 a week.
Yeah. So I had to lift it up because the inflation's,
days,
brother.
those are days.
The inflation's, man. They're getting me the gas. I had to ask for an extra $50 for the gas on their diesel.
Yeah. Obviously, being an Islander boy, we don't get taught finances.
Yep.
I think a lot of blue collar kids coming through don't get taught about money because we're taught it's rude to talk money at the table or ask people for money. Where's all this just come from?
Yeah, mum as well.
Mum seems pretty switched
She's
on.
pretty switched on, and like I obviously want generational wealth for my kids and my partner, and I live off 400 a week. Had to bump up the extra 50 for the gassies, but yeah, like obviously if I need something or if I'm going out with the boys and I do want to enjoy my time, I do take out probably $100-200 for beers and stuff like that. But that's. All my bills are paid for. I don't see it, but I do have access to all my accounts, so I can see what's going on. And actually, how that came about, I'm going to sound like I'm freaking Wado's son here, but I asked Wado about it.
You've always been good at money,
Yeah. So
I wish I'd have been a bit better when I was younger, but I've always had a good time, but I always did well with it too because we looked after it. But that was my biggest advice to, I think, what Ronnie was about to say. Because there's been a few boys like Braden and Toby and a couple of other young boys always say, like, get yourself like a finance guy that you trust, that you can see everything that's happening, but you trust, because they just organise you. They give you a basic understanding of, money coming in, money going out, saving, investing.
Because I remember you always be like on the phone, like, hey, mate, can we like
still
get an
that.
extra?
I remember still on the vein.
You're right.
Well, I was 300 a week as well back in the day, and then so me and my manager used to solely look after my money, and it was 300 a week all the time. And I was stretched for a while because when I moved from Penrith, I bought a house. I was lucky to start with because I debuted as a teenager. Was living at home with mum and dad, so I had all this money saved like instantly, pretty much. And it was back then. I bought my first house for $460,000
in Glenmore.
In Glenmore Park, house. And then there was first home buyers grant, so I didn't even need that much. I think I had a deposit saved in my first year of first grade because I played that 8 games for matches, and I was living at home with mum and dad going to school. I didn't have any expenses. But then when I moved to Cronulla...
That's rude,
That's crazy, eh?
But then when I moved... So I travelled for a year at Cronulla, rented in... remember I was in Maroubra there with Roms?
Yeah.
So I did that for a year, and the whole time I was looking for a house, and this was like pretty much 2 years after I'd bought the Glenmore house, but to buy a house in Cronulla, it was like I was looking at $850, that was like my stretch, and you could only get like units and that for there or shitty blocks. And I looked for... I must have looked at 35 different places over 18 months until I finally found the one that I still have now.
Yeah.
And at the time, I stretched myself. I had to sell the one at Glenmore. I wasn't on, massive money. And I was stretching myself. Even the 300 a week, sometimes I had to bring up the manager and he'd dip some of his own money to me just so I could get through the week.
Yeah.
But then the following year, I extended and upgraded, and it was like a massive relief. Because the 300 wasn't just set in stone then, but I went probably 12, 18 months where the 300 was actually all I had. So I was like, it was good, right? Because when you stretch yourself and you grind, when you finally get through that period. The same thing actually happened to me in COVID too, because I bought a couple of other things, and then it was a 20% deposit, so pretty much whacked up a heap of my savings.
Yeah. And
where I have all my other monies in the stocks. And that was hemorrhaging, right? So I couldn't pull any money out of that. So me and the missus actually just buckled down. Lucky she's quite frugal herself, so we buckled down for a while. But then post-COVID, it actually turned out to be the best thing ever because we grinded for 12 months, got through, houses went up, stocks came back. It was good. Like it was a hard period, but it was a good period. And I think when you're young, if you have a finance guy who gives you a budget, teaches you the basic skills of money in, money out, investing, you learn the grind. Like you learn the reason behind grinding. You go, okay, 300 is enough. I don't need 300 because every time I dip into the other side, it takes something away from anywhere. So, once you're organised and understand it, I think you see value in it. Once you understand it, you understand the value behind it.
Yeah.
So when it's good that all these, Ronnie's got a finance guy, Brady's got a finance guy, Toby's
awesome,
got a young guy. Blakey's a bit different because he's with his brother and his old man, but they're all buying houses. Like Nico just bought a house. It's like, for me as an older guy, it's like good, they're doing the right thing with their money. Like you see it going to the right place.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're doing that, or if you want to go out and have a beer and have a, do what you want to do on the side, that's okay. Like you're allowed to have a good time as well, as long as the rest is is working for you while you're getting it. Because
Just have some pre-drinks at home, eh?
Just sit there, busy's at
Go to
mine.
Wayno's house, empty his fridge, and then head down to
that's
the
what
pub.
we do, and get kicked out every time. No, boys, out of here. Been there 3 times, got kicked out all 3.
Yeah, but that's actually a really important part, because obviously being Samoan, like I said, like we ain't taught about money, and it's changed. Like my parents used to go save, and save for retirement, but that doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah,
So
well, like I learned like savings, just like it's sitting in the banks, like not
The
really doing
worst
anything.
thing,
Like see how he's kind of spread his money out. Like you would have done the same, like putting into stocks, real estate, and finding it, making your money work for you was probably the biggest thing that I've been trying to learn. And
I think the word saving too sounds boring.
it's just
investing,
like saving.
like I'm investing for
investing
my
is a
future
bit more,
or something like that.
So that's what I kind of learned. Like even learning off him when he showed me like how his bank accounts work. Like he comes from a humble heart. When you're showing me, like he's got money. I was like, oh, so when he was showing me, he's like, this is how I break it down. This is it. I was probably just looking at these numbers going, got a loan, go and give me a loan. But just to see that and how far, where it has come from. He's a Westie boy that's done well for himself and worked hard at it, And so...
Well, see, again, like, I was lucky because Gowser taught me a lot the way he did his stuff. And obviously Louis, these are all guys who grew up the same way that we do, but it's different to what you learn from your parents, because it's all about when you're young, right? Saving, pay your house off, pay your house off. There's no... remortgage or take like equity. What can I do with this? There's no portfolio over here. There's none of that. It's all about just paying your mortgage off. It's like, well, hang on a minute. If I got a $2 million house and I own it, well, I might borrow $2 million to see if I can make some more. Right? That's about understanding, debt and if you can service the debt. So, but it's just they're all lessons you learn. Like I learned on the run from other players who had been in the same situation as me, and it's changed a lot now. The world's on your phone, there's a lot more things to do. So,
and guys are like a lot more open to talk about. Because I would have like say someone like back in our day, like because he was like comfortable with who he was in his own skin, he would have had to kind of conform to what the team were doing. Does that make sense? And then he gets like a little bit shy because he's not being who he actually is, and then he's not comfortable asking those type of questions. Because I played with a lot of Islander boys and all very shy. Like it's a bit of a generational change.
There's a lot more money in the game now. When we first started, I remember Petro signed from the Broncos, and he signed for $350, I think, or $400, and that was like, Wayne Bennett, he doesn't sign props more than $200, right? And Petro had played 30 Origins in a row, and that was his payday. Right now, you could get a kid come in and play, a couple seasons, and they've got potential. You get $1 million.
Yeah, for sure.
And so all of a sudden, if you don't have the right processes in place to handle that sort of money, and because you're not going to get it your whole life, right?
No.
Like, that's the biggest thing that I'm learning now. Is trying to subsidise everything, all my expenses that I've had, how much I'm geared up. How do I still make that work now that I'm not on the same salary that I used to be? And fortunately, I've been doing it for a long time, so we're okay. But it's still a struggle for me, right, to live that same life, try and balance the books pretty much without that monthly jamming into the back pocket, and there's a lot more to manage now. So it's good that the young guys are open and willing to talk about it and get advice.
And that's important, like him showing you like what the money, bro. That's huge, bro. That's a massive life lesson.
And he didn't make it like the point of like
trying
my
to be
money.
boss,
That's probably what I respected most, was like he wasn't like look at my money. Like,
bro,
it was
successful people do, like when I hang around business people, bro, they'll open up P&L sheets or numbers, and like same thing. It's not bro, I see something in you, and this is what I want to teach you. And then I'm same as you. Like I start looking at the numbers, but then you didn't, bro. You generally think when you see it like that, you're like, "Fuck, that could be me."
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I feel like if you see it like he's just coming from a bad place with it, like, and that's totally up to you. Probably your thought process on that is probably the wrong way. So that's on you, exactly. Yeah. So when I was, every time I'm learning, I kind of go in with an open mind of, all right, like how can I spin it in my way, or how can I do it my way, and still learn. So I enjoy the learning process of things like that.
And I used to, like, because I was on football and you see the guys get paid all the big money and sort of stuff like that, and I used to be in this mindset of like, oh, like my little period's over. But now I'm past that and out of it, bro. There's no salary cap, and like what I earn is up to me now.
That's it. It's what you got.
Yeah.
What can you do with what you got, and what can I work at to get some more? Like,
yeah, and I was hanging around these dudes that are super successful that are worth like say over 100 mil, and the same thing, bro. It changes your mindset. So when you go from small town into football, you see guys on a couple 100K, you think that's the ceiling. Then you get out of football and you see guys like up here, you're like, oh shit, the ceiling's just got a little bit bigger.
Well, that's what's pretty good with my financial advisor. Like when he goes to a dinner in there in Goldie, when I'm with my family in there, he'll bring me with his like stockbrokers, the guys that own ASX businesses, like and so I'm mixing around. Like some dude was talking about how his $75 million yacht got robbed during COVID, and someone's driving it down the highway, and someone's calling him going, why are you going to the what are you doing with your yacht? And he's like, I didn't take my yacht out. So like things like that, learning off those type of people, and I appreciate him for that as well. And that's why I tell my mum, like she's always the one encouraging me, go sit down, just be all ears in there and be a fly on the wall and listen, take it in, and then hopefully you get the chance.
Fuck, might have to get your mum on the podcast.
It's funny too because like as athletes are very they have goals, right, but they're very short-term goals.
Very short-term
goals, right. And you got to look at the value, like especially if it comes to that sort of stuff. Like you got to be looking 10 years down the track, 15 years down the track, or what it could be. Not obviously there's stuff you can do in the intermediate, but to like get short-term gain, but it's all about like time. Time is getting in, putting the work in, which is what how we're also designed as well. We have that work hard, get in, do your work, do what you need to do, but it's more week to week, season to season goals. Where these things in life are a lot longer. You got to be able to see 5 years down the track, 10 years down the track, and just I'm willing to live a little bit less now, or to take a little bit of a hit now, or not do the things I want to do now because in 10 years time, you see it, you understand it, but you need to live through it to understand it.
You have to live through it.
I remember talk about how long I looked for that house before mine. I was like, I got it for $860 and was stretched. That was in 2013. Like you look at it now, you go, oh, if you knew now what you knew back then, you'd pay more for it, right? Whatever. So it's time, it's experience, it's learning, and like these guys are just at the start. It's exciting to see.
It's good seeing like the old boys, because like I'm not naive to the fact that you live a short career and you're lucky to even get 10 years, or lucky to play as long as Wado has, right? And so I'm thinking, I want to get out of this game safe, and my body will work. I want to be able to hold my kids and be able to like be a father, and then I want to have my money as well and get out like that and be able to live a comfortable life as well outside of it. So it's good seeing these like the older boys coming to the back end of their careers, kind of seeing how they address it all and how they've set themselves up, and Wado has. And so I look at that and go, that's the example there. Like I want to be able to get out, hold my kids, be with my kids, go to Canada if I want to go to Canada, or wherever I want to go, and be able to live a good life.
There's actually a sneaky part of me, like, because I'm close to you guys, like, I love the idea of moving to Canada. We're just knowing some shit about footy.
Yeah.
And I could see myself going over there like in a couple of years' time, and just like you boys talking here in a couple of years, like, whatever happened to Wado?
You look like a big grizzly bear in Canada somewhere laying up in it.
Whatever happened to him? Oh, the last I heard he moved to Canada was just over there, like ice skating on the lake.